Hello,
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
good evening. Why there are so less students today? Hello. Yeah, in the previous session, we were discussing the 7 P's of marketing. We had discussed the first P, that is the product, and we went on to discussing the pricing part. The next is the place. Now, place has two aspects. Today, I will not share the PPTs. Maybe in the next session, we'll be sharing the PPTs. I will just discuss today. The next P is the place. Now, place has two things here, or maybe you can say two approaches. One thing is the physical layout or the location, and the second aspect is the channel of distribution. So understand basic these two things. When it is a place, there is a confusion. Most of the students, they feel that place is just related to the location. Yes, very true. But when it is associated with the location, when it has certain specified feature with respect to that area or that location where the maybe retail outlet is situated. So in that case, we give the importance to that place. Or in general terms, place means the channel of distribution. How does the product or the service reach the end customer from the uh, manufacturer to the end customer? So this channel, this bridge is usually known as the place. So we have traditionally in traditional means we have the retailer in between the customer and the manufacturer, or we have the dealer retailer, that is one chain. Then we may have the direct connection of the, that is from direct manufacturing to the customers. And now because of digitization, usually we find that it is the 0 degree approach, that is direct to the customer from the manufacturer. Though we say in case of online marketing that the bridge does not exist, but at the backside or back end, when you take into consideration the supply chain and logistics part, there is lot going on behind this curtain. So this place has its prime importance. And when I say that it is with reference to a location, okay. Now, when I say its location, maybe you can think of an in-orbit mall, okay, or maybe a shopping mall. So in that case, it is of prime importance, or maybe a restaurant or a hotel, which is famous for some of its food components, items, or a specific saloon. So here, unless and until there is some importance or the feature attached with that place, that particular entity, we do not specify it. Usually, it is the channel of distribution. And many a times it poses a problem for the marketers as far as this place is considered. So this is about the place. Now the next is promotion. Now in this promotion, we have a lot of tools in the hands of the marketers to promote the product. Marketers use this marketing mix to basically enter into the segment, reach the customers. Now basic objectives of this promotion is to create awareness about the product, pursue the customers to purchase the product, see to it that the customer uses the product and becomes loyal. So here, depending upon the objectives, different promotional tools are decided. Now here, if you see in case of promotion, we have advertising, which is the first and foremost thing, which is paid form of communication. Okay, in advertising, you may have the print media, you may have the television media, you may have the radio advertising, you may have the billboards, you may have the digital boards display. So here you may have a number of options. Now, here it depends upon the objective, what exactly you want to convey. That is one thing. Second thing is the budget of the advertising expenditure. Now, if you go for the television ads, the budget is very huge. The firms which can afford, they can only enter into this television on the local basis, on the national basis. This again depends upon the area or the core of the manufacturer. If it's a regional product manufacturer, they will not be interested in advertising for the whole of the globe or the nation. Print advertising, usually if it is a regional producer, he may take into consideration the print media. If it's the radio channel, maybe they are just restricting to the particular area, and that's why they take up the radio mix advertising. So this is one form of promotion. The next is personal selling. Now, personal selling is usually face-to-face communication in between the customers and the company people. Personal selling usually takes place mostly in industrial buying, or in case where a product requires more convincing or demonstrations. Otherwise, personal selling, usually in case of FMCG, we don't see. We had once upon a time, but now the role is minimized in case of personalized selling. More customized approach is also being used. Now here, if you take the services like insurance, you will find that it includes the personal selling, where the products with respect to demonstrations are there. Maybe where they want to show the demo of the product, then the personal sellings comes into the picture. Each and every of these tools has its own pros and cons. Advertising is very expensive as compared to personal selling. Personal selling, maybe here you need to employ the people, but the charges are less as compared to advertisements. Here, customization, there is a possibility that since you are targeting the customer, the conversion ratio is more. But in case of advertising, whole of the mass or the audience is your target set. You will not come to know who actually is your target group of customers, since everybody is watching the advertising. So this is about the personal selling. Next comes the part of sales promotion. You might see that during the festive season, when the festive seasons are nearing, there are shopping discounts are given. There are the monetary discounts, or so-called sales are there of the product. There are coupons. There are by lottery method. Maybe if you have given something feedback through lottery method, you get some discount coupons. So all this comes into the sales promotion, or 1+1 offer, buy extra. All this comes under the sales promotion part. If the product is in the introductory stage, maybe in the next session, coming session, we will study the PLCs, that is product life cycle of various products. But usually sales promotion is at the stage of introduction, where maybe a product is introduced in the market, where they go for heavy sales promotional offers, like distributing samples, like giving some discounts, as rightly now I discussed. So here, sales promotion has its own short-term objectives. It does not have its long-term objectives. Personal selling may have the long-term relationship. It is related to CRM, but sales promotion is the short-term objective. Maybe 2 to 3 months is the tenure of this sales promotion. There may be direct marketing. That is the next marketing tool here. In case of promotion, direct marketing, as we say, it's the customization or treating the individual customers, like maybe through messaging them, through sending the catalog marketing, through telephonic conversations, spreading awareness of the product availability, or the new service facility which has been initiated, calling the customers and making them understand. There may be also the next tool, that is PR. PR is public relations, publicity. Now, many a times company uses the media tool to penetrate into the market, maybe through event management, through some CSR activities, any of these activities through the media. Sometimes it may be free of cost, sometimes it may be paid also. So this is a promotion mix. Now, maybe once I sum up with the skeleton of marketing concepts, we will just check. So maybe when I will discuss with individual category of product, I will take into consideration all of the concepts. Now just I am discussing the basic concepts irrespective of any category of products here. So these are about the 4 P's. Now these 4 P's are essentially attached or restricted to the products category. So whenever we discuss of marketing mix or marketing tools for product category, it is with reference to 4 P's of marketing. Please understand this. So there are only 4 P's for product category, any of the product categories. So any doubt as far as these 4 P's are considered, maybe with reference to different product categories, we will have a look afterwards. But at least understand the concepts. We will see the use afterwards in practical purposes. Any doubts here? Okay. So the next, the additional 3 P's are people, process, and physical evidence. Okay. These 3 P's, okay, they came into existence because of the increase in the service sector. So this is one of the part where the products and services are differentiated. Please understand, when you are writing a marketing mix for any product category, please ensure that there are only 4 P's. I have checked the papers where the students have written 7 P's for marketing of refrigerators, televisions. Okay, so please don't do this mistake. 7 P's are only restricted or limited. They are to the services marketing. If it is a service, yes, 7 P's. If it is a product, then it is a 4 P's marketing only. Understand this basic difference. And even for the interviews, they will ask you such type of questions. So these are just the basics. Now here, if you consider this P of people, why this P of people started gaining importance? Because most of the services, yes.
Ma'am, screen is not visible.
Yeah, today I'm not sharing PPTs. मैंने उसका ये नहीं लिया है.
अच्छा.
हाँ, पहले मैंने बता दिया था. Since the concepts are also simple, तो मैं सिर्फ डिस्कस कर रही हूँ. Is it Dipali?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. There was some link issue, I think, so I had joined late. The link was up and down.
Okay, fine. But try to understand what I am saying.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
क्योंकि ऐसे आंसर्स मैंने चेक किए हैं. Okay, so please don't do this mistake, students.
Okay, ma'am.
So when you come to this P of people, no, so it is highly associated with the services. Services are highly intangible. What is the meaning of tangible? Anybody? When you go and purchase a product, क्या करते हैं आप अगर शॉप में गए तो?
Tangible means touchable.
Touchable. Anything else? Yeah. Yes. So suppose if you are आप अगर डीओ या परफ्यूम लेने जा रहे हो तो what is the thing which you will check? क्या है importance?
The fragrance.
Yeah, fragrance. So आप smell करना चाहोगे fragrance. Suppose if it's a cloth fabric, you would like to touch it and feel it, isn't it?
Yes.
So here, in this case, it is possible in case of products. What about services? आप बोल सकते हो क्या थोड़ा मूवी देख के आता हूँ फिर टिकट लेता हूँ? Is it possible? ताकि
No.
मैं देख सकूं. Sampling is not possible there in the case of services. That is what is intangible. या फिर you cannot say for the in-flight services, you know, like flight में आप जा रहे हैं तो मैं एक ride लेके देखता हूँ and then I will decide whether to purchase the ticket. It's not possible in case of services, isn't it? So here this is the basic difference यहाँ पे. And most of the time people are reflection of organizations. अगर आप flight में जा रहे हो, okay. So in case of flight, it is 50-50%. That is 50-50 means tangibility is 50% and intangibility is 50%. What is this tangibility? Maybe your sitting arrangement, how comfortably the sitting arrangement has been done for you. Okay, if the food is served, plate kaise hai, cleanliness kuch hai kya? Okay, these are all the invisible parts. Whether you are given some food, water, how polite is the air hostess? Okay, so how good the treatment is given. So that is invisible part or the people part or the service part. So that's why we say it's a 50-50 part. Even when you are entering any hotel or restaurant, okay, if the food is very good, that is the service part. Somebody has prepared the food, that is the service part. But the other 50% is the tangible part. You know, the customer needs both of the things. Agar hotel बहुत ही अच्छा है, the interior, the layout is very nice, comfortably positioned, the decor is very fine, the furniture is too good, और खाना ही अच्छा नहीं है. Does it happen with you many a times? कि आप जाते हैं hotel but you know the food you don't like the taste. So here, as far as this tangibility part is considered, everything is fine. But the non-tangible part, you know, when we taste the food, we understand the quality. Many a times we don't like, so we don't enter that restaurant again. So this is the service part. Many a times ऐसा भी होता है कि maybe if the restaurant is a very small one, भले ही उसका डेकोर इतना अच्छा नहीं है, फर्नीचर अच्छा नहीं है, but the taste of the food is very good, then also people will visit that place just for the sake of enjoying that taste of or the flavor of the food. Okay, so this is because of this people element, क्योंकि वो बनाता है. Similarly, if you consider the services, okay, saloon shop hai, people element is more important. If you think of dress designer, people is very important part. What about the doctors, specialist doctors, surgeons? Everywhere the sellable element is the person's skill. So that's why these people that plays a very important role. So on the sale is the person's skill here in this case, which is marketed, and people are buying the skill set of the person. If you think in case of legal advisors, lawyers, consultants, all these services, okay, the dominating feature is the people. So here the ratio of this tangibility and intangibility differs with different professions. Like teaching, education, if you say whole and soul, it depends upon the teacher. Though today we have many audio visual tools which is like tangibilizing whatever is invisible. So hence there is importance of people, which is increasing. The next part is physical evidence. Physical evidence, just now I gave you an example of a hotel. Okay, what is the role of this physical evidence? It does matter in the hospitality industry. As I said, hotel industry, if you see over a decade, the growth rate has increased thrice as far as this hotel industries is considered. Now the ratings, 5-star ratings and all are considered when you take into consideration all these 7 P's. Specifically, physical evidence plays a very important role. अगर आप एक रूम बुक करना चाहते हैं, you might also have experienced, you just want to see the layout, room कैसा है, whether it's clean, whether it has ventilation, how are the lighting arrangements, how are the beds, the sofa, और क्या amenities है उधर, isn't it? So this is what is physical evidence. But again, this on this basis, marketers can think of differentiation. The strategy is they can design on the basis of differentiation as far as this physical education or people aspect is considered. How people can be differentiated, like we had an example of Taj hotels, how the values are imbibed, the dress code is given, the politeness, training, okay, how the company or the organization develops the culture of the organization is the reflection into this people, that is the employees. Physical evidence reflects the asset part or the fixed posture, you can say, of the organization. So here, even it matters to employees, it matters to customers a lot in some of the fields or areas. Now coming on to the next part is the last P is the process. Now process includes right from initiation when the customer gets in touch with the organization to the completion of the services and after that. That is post service offering, whether the customer is satisfied or not. That is post purchase behavior we are speaking of. So everything which includes that comes into the process. Suppose if you are visiting a hotel, how we were treated right from the darban, the entry into the hotel, whether anybody greeted at the reception counter, whether the cognizance was taken, if it is waiting, whether the manager comes or somebody else comes, he takes care of you, whether he inquires about you, whatever the time frame you had to wait, whether you were comfortably escorted to the particular place it was shown, or just you were just directed that go there and sit. Okay, everything matters. How the person spoke, whether he spoke rudely, whether he spoke politely. When you place the order, okay, whenever you place the order, whether the person was there in time, whether you got the food in time. Many a times you need to just ask for food, that order hua ki nahi, and many a times everything is at a proper time. It is in place service. So that is the process. If you consider banking, okay, today banking, previously we did not had this digitization. So a person used to visit the bank, he used to wait there, take the token for any of the services. He had to take the token, wait for the long queues for his turn to come. Then the person used to entertain. Today, that's not the case. Maybe because of this digital platforms, because of the apps, the things have become much more easier because of your internet. Maybe if you just click and things are done. So how quickly the thing proceeds? It is the process. Suppose if you have any complaints, if you have any grievances, how the customer care responds to your complaints. That is what is process. This process again differs from one service sector to the other service sector. So whole of this is the process. So this is about the 7 P's of marketing for the services sector. Now, any doubts as far as the services are considered?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So one more part which was remaining in this chapter was the business market versus the consumer market. I've already discussed, but still briefly I will discuss this. They have now, this business market have several characteristics that are in contrast with the consumer markets. The first and foremost thing is that there are fewer buyers. The business marketer normally deals with fewer buyers than the consumer does. So here maybe there you have more of the customers, here you will have less customers. Large buyers, a few large buyers do most of the purchasing in such industries. Maybe if you want to sell the pistons, the tires, the defense weapons, the aircraft engines, okay, specialized products are manufactured and they are supplied in bulk. There is a close supplier customer relationship. Now, because of smaller customer base and the importance and power of large customers, suppliers are frequently expected to customize their offering to individual business customer needs. So here in this case, many times there is customization. The business customers will ask for the specific product and one has to design and procure them. This generally happens. Similarly, they are geographically concentrated buyers. Now, the geographical concentration of producer helps to reduce selling costs. But at the same time, business marketers needs to monitor regional shifts of certain industries. Now, it is also, there is a point that is derived demand. The demand for business goods is ultimately derived from the demand for consumer goods. If the consumer is purchasing the product, then only this business goods will have the demand. Otherwise, they will not have demand. Hence, we say it is a derived demand for industrial products. Now, for this reason, the business marketer must closely monitor the buying so here for this reason the business marketer must closely monitor the buying pattern of ultimate consumers. The next part is inelastic demand. That is the total demand for many business goods and services is inelastic. I think you might have studied the types of demand in economics. Inelastic demand means that is it is not much affected by the price changes. For example, if shoe manufacturers are there, okay, they are not going to buy more. If the leather prices falls, they are not going to purchase more. It depends upon the demand from the customers ahead. Nor they are going to buy much less if the leather prices falls, rises, I mean, unless they find it satisfactory substitutes. So demand is especially inelastic in the short run because producers cannot make quick changes in production methods. So that's why we say demand is inelastic for business goods that represent a small percentage of the item's total cost. Again, there is also fluctuating demand. The demand for business goods and services tend to be more volatile than the consumer demands. A given percentage increase in consumer demand can lead to a much larger percentage increase in demand for plant and equipment necessary to produce the additional output. Now here there is in this case it's a professional purchasing. That is, business goods are purchased by trained purchasing agents who must follow organizations purchasing policies. Many of the buying instruments like request for quotations, proposals, purchase contracts, these things are not found in the consumer buying behavior. Okay, so this is only possible in organizational buying or business markets. There are several buying influences when you take into consideration the business buying decisions. buying committees consist of technical experts, senior managers, purchase managers, okay, even the accounts departments. Everybody should be considered here in this case. While in consumer market, maybe there is only 1 or 2 persons, those need to be convinced. But here that's not the case. Hence, it takes more time to convince the client or a customer in case of organizational buying behavior. So one has to go for multiple sales calls. That is more calls. A salesperson, in case of personal selling, as I told you, it is the one of the tool in the hands of the marketers. So here, multiple sales calls is required because more people are involved in selling processes. It takes more time, multiple sales calls to win most business orders, and the sales cycle can take years also. Business marketers also need to remember that the technicalities have to be met. Even the technicalities should be taken care of here in this case. Business buyers often buy directly from manufacturers rather than through intermediaries, especially items that are technically complex or expensive. So here there is less possibility that there would be any intermediary in between in this case. Now, many a times there is reciprocity also. That is, business buyers often select suppliers who also buy from them. An example would be like a paper manufacturer that buys chemicals from a chemical company that buys a considerable amount of its paper also. Many times there is leasing also. Many industrial buyers lease instead of buying heavy equipment like machinery and trucks. The lease gains a number of advantages like conserving capital, getting the latest products, receiving better service, and gaining some tax advantages also is possible here. Now here, if you consider the stages, okay, like we saw the 5-step consumer buying behavior, the stages in industrial buying behavior, or we can say organizational buying behavior. This model, okay, is also known as BuyGrid framework, which involves 8 steps. First and foremost, the common one, that is the problem recognition. Why any organizations wants to purchase the good. The company decides to develop a new product and needs new equipment and materials. A machine breaks down and requires new parts. Purchase material turns out to be unsatisfactory and the company searches for maybe another supplier. Or a purchasing manager senses an opportunity, maybe at the lower cost also they may get a better quality product many a times, and that's the reason purchaser may think of any other industries or any other option here. So there are many reasons why the company may think of switching from one supplier to other supplier. Now, first and foremost step is the general need description. Now, the buyer determines the needed items, general characteristics or features, the required quantity, and the specifications, the quality, the standards, the specifications. For complex items, the buyer will work with others like engineers, users, and define the needed characteristics, which may also include the features like reliability, durability, price, and other attributes. That is what is the general need description of the product. Now it includes the product specification also. The buying organization develops the technicalities, technical specifications of the product. That is product value analysis by the engineering team. Now, what is this product value analysis? It is an approach to cost reduction in which components are carefully studied to determine if they can be redesigned or standardized so that it could be made through a cheaper means or cheaper methods. Next would be the step, that is the supplier search. The buyer now tries to identify the appropriate suppliers. Who are the suppliers? Into which area they are. They can examine the trade directories. They can take the help of websites, phone numbers of other companies for recommendation. They can take into consideration the watch trade advertisements, attend trade shows, wherein they get this information about various suppliers. The supplier's task is to get listed in major online catalogs or services, develop a strong advertising and promotional program, and build good reputation in the marketplace. So here in the industrial buying, word of mouth publicity works a lot. Suppliers who lack the required production capacity or suffer from poor reputation, they will be totally rejected here. Those who qualify may be visited by the buyer's friend agents who will examine the supplier's manufacturing facilities and meet their personnel. And after evaluation, they may go for decision that this would be the supplier. They may enter into mutual agreements here. After this, the next step is proposal solicitation. Like the buyer will now invite qualified suppliers to submit proposals. Where the item is complex or expensive, the buyer will require a detailed written proposal for each qualified supplier. Now, after evaluating the proposals, the buyer will invite few suppliers to make formal presentations also. Here, this step, takes a lot of time. Proposal solicitation. The business markets must thus, must be skilled in researching, writing, and presenting proposals. A very good drafted presentation will always make a mark on the customers. Their oral presentation, their confidence, their positioning, their company capabilities and resources, they stand out. They will help them to stand out of the competition and gain the customers' confidence. Next is the supplier selection. So once you take into consideration the different suppliers, the buying center will specify desired supplier attributes and indicate their relative importance. It will then rate the suppliers on the attributes and identify the most attractive suppliers, because one need to match the specifications. Also, budget is one of the constraints, that is price. That is a major important thing, and the credit facilities offered. The choice and importance of different attributes varies with the type of buying situations. Delivery reliability, price, supplier reputation, they are of high or prime importance in this case. The buying center may attempt to negotiate with its preferred suppliers for better prices, and they may end up with final selection. So here it depends upon the category of the product, the pricing strategy. When they enter into memorandum of understanding, they take into consideration the price related to the orders. If the order is in bulk, then only that price would be negotiated. Otherwise, again, if there are fluctuations in the orders, again, there is a problem here. Now, as a part of the buyer supplier selection process, the buying centers must decide how many suppliers to use. Suppose if you just embark on a single supplier, then there is a problem, because you are depending on only one supplier. And if he poses some problem as far as the resources are considered, then the company would be totally handicapped. That's why they should take into consideration more than 2 to 3 options as far as the suppliers is considered, depending upon the capacity of the unit or the organization, financially as well as demand wise also. These companies now expect their suppliers to work closely with them during product development, and also they value the suggestions. Suppose if in many cases when the companies go for new product development, their requirements, they have to take into consideration the suppliers also. because maybe you may come up with a new design of the product, but you don't have a specific supplier who would be supplying you if it is out of the box requirement. Next is order routine specification. After selecting the supplier, the buyer negotiates the final order, listing the technical details, the quantity needed, the expected time of delivery, written policies, warranties, and so on. Now, a blanket contract establishes a long-term relationship in which the supplier promises to resupply the buyer as needed at agreed upon prices over a certain specified period of time. Because the stock is held by the seller, blanket contracts are sometimes called stockless purchase plans also. Then the step is the performance review. The buyer periodically reviews the performance of the chosen supplier. The buyer may contact the end users and ask for their evaluations, or the buyer may rate the supplier on several criteria using a weighted score method. Or even the buyer might aggregate the cost of poor supplier performance to come up with adjusted costs of purchase, including price. So here you can say it is the audit carried out, performance review of different suppliers. And finally, it ends up with the relationship. So here this review or the performance will further set a stage to continue with the particular suppliers. The next is by-flow maps. Like the biphase model describes the major steps in business buying process. Tracing out a by-flow map can provide many clues to the business marketers. Now, many of the institutional markets, okay, when we say it's institutional market, so here there are certain manufacturing industries which may take into consideration the spare parts for assembling the raw materials, etc. And there may be other like the institutional markets. So that's why we say it's business markets and the institutional or organization market. In case of the institutional market, it consists of schools, hospitals, nursing homes, other institutions, social institutions, where the goods and services are provided. Many of these organizations, they are characterized by low budgets. Now, if you take hospitals, there are private hospitals as well as the public hospitals. So many a times budget is a constraint for social hospitals, public hospitals, while in case of private sector, it's not, the money is not a issue, but the quality matters. Now the hospitals have to decide what quality of food to buy for the patients. Since it's a health concern, they need not compromise on pricing strategies. Here the buying objective should not be profit, but rather the quality of food and the ultimate satisfaction of the patients. So this is what about the industrial buying of the products as well as services. In the next session, I would be starting with the product life cycle concept. So any doubts as far as this industrial buying is considered here? Industrial buying or purchasing is considered.
No, ma'am.
Now, in most of the countries, the government organizations, they are the major buyer of goods and services. So here again, it depends upon the individual entity. As far as the government entities are considered, the government organizations are considered, typically the supplier requires to submit the bids. Okay, that is the quotations are invited, and normally they award the contract or place the order to the lowest bidder. That is what is the seen as far as the government organizations are considered. Now, government organizations tend to favor domestic suppliers over foreign suppliers. A major complaint of multinationals is that here again the problem is with the favorability as far as the country is considered, towards its national spirits. So some of the countries, they take into consideration individualization. Now today, if you see here again, it depends upon many factors. It depends basically on the government. Today, Make in India theme is one of the mantras, ongoing mantras, but where there are constraints are as far as the technology is considered, you cannot just restrain or restrict yourself to these things. You need to cross the borders. Whatever is good should be welcomed. That is the argument between these two philosophies. Both of them are right from their perspectives. Because of their spending decisions are subject to public review, government organizations, they require considerable paperwork from suppliers who often complain about excessive paperwork, bureaucracy, regulations, decision making delays, and frequent shifts in procurement personnel. So, here these are the limitations. But the organization or the suppliers get the orders in bulk. Maybe the credit period would be more, the delay, there would be delays, but ultimately, this is an opportunity for the suppliers to gain the orders for the government agencies or the government organizations. Just as companies provide government agencies with guidelines on how best to purchase and use their products, government provides would be suppliers with detailed guidelines describing how to sell to the government. So here the suppliers they get instructions from these organizations regarding the specifications of the product, the time deadlines, the credit periods. These are the crucial part in the government sector. In spite of many of the reforms in this government sector, many companies sell to the government that have manifested towards marketing orientation for a number of reasons. Like the government's procurement policies have traditionally emphasized price, leading the suppliers to invest considerable effort in bringing costs down. Where the product characteristics are carefully specified, product differentiation is not a marketing factor here, nor are the advertising and personal selling much of the consequence in winning the bids, but rather how you present your quotation, how do you make your presentation as far as the price and quality is considered. Now, ultimately, it depends upon the decision maker whether to allow them or not and whom to select out of the available choice of suppliers. In private sector, though they have the bids, they also invite the bids, but there are no constraints as far as the pricing strategy is considered. It is there, but not a major concern. They don't want to compromise on quality as such. Not also in government sector, but still in government sector, it is taken care of the pricing. But in private sector, the leverage is given as far as the price is considered. When the quality is good, it is welcomed or it is welcoming. So this is the basic difference between the consumer buying process and the organizational buying process. Now, even though the product, suppose if it is a piston, if it's a medical equipment, if it is a bed, if it is maybe any of the food category which is applied to the organizational buying, the steps would remain the same. Except if it is a technology driven product, then maybe more emphasis is given on the characteristics, the features, or the specifications, technical specifications, I mean, the leverage would be there. But the other steps remain the same. That is, these 8 steps remain the same irrespective of product, a bit here and there in case of organizational buying. Now, is this clear up till here? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the next session, maybe we'll start with product life cycle, PLC part. Okay. Now, any doubts up till here? Anybody has the doubt? Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
So, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. ठीक है, फिर अभी we'll stop here. In the next session, I would discuss PLC, product life cycle. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.